Okay, so this video is another version of the previous one, and the main topic na discuss natin today is, or for this video, is analyzing business transactions, and then separate video na lang yung journalizing and posting to general ledger. Okay, so this time, isa-isahin ulit natin yung business transactions, but we're going to take it slow para sa beginners dyan. And then, analyze natin ng medyo mas mabagal, dahan-dahan, para mas maunawaan. Okay, so that's it. Let's go to the transactions. Okay, quick question. Do you guys still need to see me, or can we do away with the video in this corner? Anyway, going back through the discussion. So, start ulit tayo, accounting equation natin. So, assets equals liabilities plus equity. Itong nasa left side natin, assets. So, any increases in assets, i-record natin siya as debit. Okay? And then, any decrease in asset, kabilang side ang punta niya, credit. Alright? And then, itong nasa right side ng ating equation, liabilities and equity. Any increase in liabilities or utang ng business, ang recording natin ay credit. Okay? And then, equity, puhunan, pag nag-invest yung owner to the business, ang record natin sa kanya ay credit then to equity. Okay? Or capital. Okay? And then, konting review lang. Can you think of accounts under the assets? Okay? So, di ba we have cash, accounts receivable, supplies, inventory, and then mga non-current assets natin, land, building, furniture and fixtures, office equipment, delivery equipment or vehicles, and those ones. And then for liabilities, utang, di ba normally we have accounts payable, notes payable, loans payable, banks payable, and mortgage payable. And then for equity, we have the capital, and then the contra account, drawing, and then we have the income summary kung saan kino-close yung revenue and expenses account. Okay? More of that in a separate video. Okay? Yung closing ng income and expenses. Alright, so ito yung normal accounting equation, but for you to remember kung ano yung types of accounts na i-debit and ano yung types of accounts na i-credit, yung normal balances nila increases. So we have ADILEC, assets, drawing, and expenses, debit side sila. So any increases, pag nagkaroon ng asset yung company, or nag-drawing or nag-withdrawal si owner, and then kapag nagkaroon ng kagastusan or expenses yung business, ang recording nila ay dito sa left side, so we have debit. Okay? And then dito sa right side, we have liabilities, mga pagkakautang, income kapag kumita yung business, nag-render ng service, di ba, nagbayad si customer or inutang muna ni customer, pero na-render naman yung service, income na rin yon. And then, we have, or kaya naman ay sale ng inventories or merchandise, so income din yon. And then, we have yung capital kapag nag-invest or naglagay ng puhunan si business owner to the business. Okay? So, yeah. Let's go to each transactions now. Okay, first transaction, tutor invested 250,000 to start an auto repair business. Okay? So, yung business owner, nag-set aside siya ng 250,000 in cash para ilagay dun sa business niya, makapag-operate yung business. Okay? So, since naglagay siya ng cash, diba, asset yon ng business, so tumaas yung asset, ang entry natin would definitely a debit to an asset account. Ano yung form of asset? So, 250,000 pesos in cash. So, yung particular account title na gagamitin natin ay cash. That's why yung debit natin dito is to the cash account. And then, for the credit, since ito ay investment or puhunan ng business owner, nilagay niya sa business, so ang ating credit account would be to capital. Particular account natin would be tutor capital. So, di ba, again, for sole proprietor, kapag magre-record tayo ng equity is, it's the surname and then comma capital. Okay? So that's how you record the capital investment of the owner. Second transaction, tutor invested his tools costing 30,000 pesos in the business. So, sa business, hindi lang cash ang pwedeng i-invest ng owner. Pwede rin siyang magbigay ng mga gamit na kakailanganin ng business. Diba? Para hindi nabili ng business, so yung gamit na mismo ang ibibigay. So, pwede siyang in the form of tools, pwede rin in the form of computer or vehicle, or kung ano mang gamit na pwede namang gamitin din sa business. Okay, so in this case, ay tools ang binigay ni tutor. So, dito, nagkaroon ng additional asset yung company aside from the cash na binigay niya kanina. Meron na rin siyang tools ngayon, amounting to 30,000. So, nagkaroon ng additional asset. So, ang debit natin would definitely be an asset account. And then, nag-invest siya. So, namuhunan. Definitely, ang credit account natin ay equity account. Okay? So, in particular, debit natin siya to tools and then credit to tutor capital. Okay? So, hopefully, masusundan pa. Normal balances pa to kasi increase in asset, increase in capital pa lang yung mga nangyayari. Okay? At ang number 3, medyo tricky ng konti kasi bumili siya ng computer, bought a computer from B company for cash 20,000. Okay? So, di ba earlier nag-invest si tutor ng 250,000 in cash? Ngayon, itong cash na to, bumawa siya ng konti para pambili ng computer for 20,000. Okay? So, ang nangyari, nagkaroon siya ng asset, which is yung computer, and then nabawasan din yung asset niya kasi di ba yung cash, binawasan niya pambayad dito sa biniling computer. Okay? So, ang debit natin would be an asset account for the computer na natanggap ng business or binili ng business. And then, credit natin is also an asset account kasi nabawasan yung cash ng company. Okay? So, debit natin in particular is office equipment kasi computer is an office equipment. And then, credit natin to cash kasi binayaran na yung biniling computer agad. Okay? Bought for cash. Okay? So, yun yung titingnan mo na hindi naman basta yung term na ginamit. Okay? Bought for cash. Okay? Kasi ang business pwedeng binili in cash or pwedeng utang muna on credit or pwede ring issuehan ng note. So, note payable. Okay? So, yan. Itong second on account yung pagkakabili niya. So, tingnan natin. Next transaction, bought tables and chairs from C company on credit, 15,000. Bumili ng lamesa at mga bangko, pero on credit, utang muna, 15,000. So, tingnan natin yung accounts natin. Di ba nagkaroon siya ng tables and chairs? So, that's an asset. So, definitely debit natin ay to an asset account. And then, hindi pa niya binabayaran, di ba? Kasi on credit, so walang nabawas sa cash natin. On the other side of the equation, we have liabilities. Since utang muna, bought tables and chairs on credit, so nagkaroon tayo ng increase in liability. Nagkaroon kasi ng utang. Okay? And then, sa equity side, wala namang nabago. Hindi naman nagkaroon ng dagdag na puhunan si owner. Okay? So, ang affected accounts natin, asset, nagkaroon ng increase in asset. Tapos, liability, nagkaroon din ng increase in liability. So, in particular, anong accounts yung affected natin? So, debit, bumili ng tables and chairs. So, furniture and fixture. And then, credit, nagkaroon ng utang kasi on credit binili yung furniture and fixture. So, we have credit to accounts payable. Okay? So, hopefully, nasundan. And then, ito yung third type ng kapag bumibili ng gamit. Nag-issue naman siya ng promissory note. So, utang pa din. Number 5, issued a promissory note for repair equipment bought 40,000. Okay, bumili ng repair equipment pero utang muna. Instead ng simpleng accounts payable, note, nag-issue siya ng note kasi normally kapag note, it's for assets na medyo mataas yung value, tapos yung credit term is medyo mas mahaba din. Yung accounts payable, normally, binabayaran siya within 30 days or within 60 days. Pinakamatagal na yung 60 days. Pero normally, the norm is within 30 days. Okay? And then yung note payable, normally siya for 90 days or more than 90 days. Pero syempre within 1 year pa din. Okay? Unless ito ay yung bank note payable na medyo mahaba ang term. So normally, that would be classified as bank payable instead of note payable. Okay? Anyway, going back. Ang binili nila dito is repair equipment. Tapos, nag-issue siya ng note payable. Kung mapapansin mo, syempre yung repair equipment, since auto repair business sila, it's a very significant amount, nasa 40,000. So, instead of a simple accounts payable to guarantee the payment later on, so nag-issue sila ng note payable. Okay? Kapag note payable, kasi meron kang pinanghahawakan din, yung creditor or yung supplier, yung pinagbilhan, ng, document, yung promissory note mismo na ikaw umutang ka, ito yung note na binigay mo sa akin, you have to pay for this later on. Okay? Dun sa accounts payable, normal lang na invoice from the supplier, pero itong si umutang, halos wala siyang in-issue na kung ano. Okay? Basta kumbaga na-receive niya lang yung binili niya na asset from the supplier. Okay? So, yeah. So again, assets, liability, equity. Repair equipment is an asset. So nagkaroon ng additional asset si company. Walang kabawasan sa asset kasi hindi naman binayaran agad siya in cash. And then other side of the equation, we have liabilities. Inutang kasi nag-issue siya ng promissory note, diba? So merong increase in liability. And then equity, wala namang galaw sa equity kasi hindi naman nag-invest ng additional owner. Okay? So, in particular, ang affected accounts natin ay increase in asset, tapos increase then in liability. Particular accounts na gagamitin, debit to repair equipment, and then credit to note payable. Ayan. Hopefully, nasusundan ka. To be honest, ito na yung pinaka-slow approach na kaya kong gawin. Okay, so number 6, borrowed money from bank, 50,000. Okay, so umutang ng pera mula sa bangko. Ando na yung keywords natin, umutang. So affected ang liability, money from the bank. So nakatanggap ng cash from the bank. Okay, so in that case, merong increase in asset in the form of cash. Tapos increase in liability kasi borrowed money from the bank. So ang debit natin, increase in cash, nakatanggap ng 50,000. And then, credit natin would be the liability, loan payable, credit natin yan. Okay? So, again, di ba yung account titles, if you would remember, nakadepende to sa chart of accounts na ginagamit ng business. For this particular business, ang available liability accounts nila ay ito. Accounts, note, loan, and mortgage. So, in this particular, loan payable ang ginamit for the bank loan. Okay? It's a bank loan. Sorry. It's a bank loan, so loan payable pa din. Okay, number 7, received cash for repair service, 10,000. So, di ba nag-operate na sila ng repair business nila, nagkaroon sila ng customer. Si customer nagbayad ng 10,000 para dun sa service na natanggap niya. Okay? So, dito, anong affected accounts natin? Received cash. So, nagkaroon ng additional asset. Tapos, for repair service. Repair service is an income account ng company, income source ng company. So, nagkaroon ng increase in income. Okay? So, in particular, ang debit account natin for the increase in cash, we have debit to cash. And then, on the other side of the equation, itong expanded natin, income. So, nagkaroon ng increase in income, credit natin siya to repair income. Okay? Okay, next we have number 8, billed Mr. Z a customer for repair service rendered 8,000. So, on the part naman ng customer, so either pwede silang magbayad agad in cash, tapos meron din instances na syempre utang din muna yung customer, pero hindi naman siya yung tipong matagalan. Meron kasi mga customer na bill mo muna ako, bigyan mo muna ako ng statement of account kung magkano yung babayaran ko, and then pag natanggap ko na siya, saka ko hahanda yung payment, bibigyan kita ng check or either cash din. Tapos yun, saka palang matatanggap ni business. Okay? And then, yung third type would be yung medyo matagal na bayaran nila o bago mabayaran. So, in the form naman ng promissory note. Yes, ang customer pwede rin silang prepare ng promissory note at yun yung ibayad muna nila for the business. Tapos, eventually, later on, makokollect in the form of cash. Although, technically, it's not payment yet hanggat hindi siya nagiging cash. So, yan. Itong second transaction with regards to, transaction with customers, si Mr. D, na-renderan na siya ng service, pero naghihintay siya ng bill before siya magbayad. So, dito, number 8, nag-bill pa lang yung company natin. Okay? Billed Mr. D. Okay? So, in this case, ang affected accounts would be increase in asset kasi magkakaroon tayo ng receivable mula kay Mr. D. Tapos, on the other side of the equation, we have income kasi diba nag-render tayo ng service. So, meron tayong repair income. Okay. In particulars, ang debit account natin would be accounts receivable. Credit account natin would be repair income in the amount of 8,000. And then number 9, received a promissory note, 10,000 for repair service render. So, another customer per this time, nag-issue yung customer ng promissory note. Okay, depende kasi din sa situation ng customer. Kung paano siya magbabayad, in cash ba, or accounts payable muna, or note payable nila. Na on the part naman ng business natin, edi accounts receivable or note receivable. Itong number 9, transaction, yung customer is nag-issue siya ng note. So, on the accounting elements natin, ang affected ay, first off, we have asset kasi magkakaroon tayo ng note receivable from this particular customer. And then, on the other side of the equation, we have income din kasi nag-render tayo ng service for this particular customer. So, ang debit natin would be note receivable and then ang credit natin would be repair income. Yung recording nito sa journal, tapos pagpo-post sa ledger, in a separate video natin gagawin. Okay? Number 10, bought office supplies for cash, 12,000. Okay, merong dalawang approach nito. Explain ko na din dito. Either i-record siya ng company as supplies, which is an asset, or kapag naman madali lang nilang ginagamit din agad yung supplies na binibili nila, pwedeng i-lodge na nila or i-record agad as supplies expense. Depende siya sa discretion ng company. Okay? Pero at the end of the year, magkakaroon ng adjustment para i-reflect kung ilan talaga yung nagamit ng company, tapos ilan yung natira na hindi pa nagagamit. Okay? So, that would be for adjustments later on. Madidiscuss din natin in a separate video ulit. Okay? Adjustments ang topic nun. Okay? Pero for this particular transaction, ang pinili ng company would be mas pinili niyang i-record siya agad as expense. Siguro yung company nila, di ba, repair service naman sila. So, kapag nagre-render sila ng service, naggagamit nila yung kanilang mga supplies. Most likely, ganyan yung nangyari. Kung bakit nag-decide sila na supplies expense yung gamitan na account. Okay, so again, bumili ng office supplies for cash. So, ano yung affected accounts natin? Asset, nabawasan kasi nagbayad in cash. Binili yung supplies in cash. And then, another affected account would be expenses, kagastusan. So, nagkaroon din ng increase in expenses naman. Okay? So, yung debit account natin would be, expense, supplies expense. Tapos, yung credit account would be decrease in asset kasi. So, although debit ang normal balance ng asset, since decrease yung nangyari, so credit natin siya, credit to cash. Okay? Next transaction, paid rent for the office space, 5,000. So, nare-rentahan lang nila yung lugar na pinagtatrabahuhan nila or kung saan sila nag-ooperate. Nagbayad ng rent. So, nabawasan yung kanilang cash ng 5,000. Tapos, kagastusan to, rent expense. So, nagkaroon sila ng increase in expense. Okay? So, kagaya lang din halos nung kanina. Increase in expense. So, debit to an expense account, which is rent expense. Tapos, nabawasan yung kanilang asset, yung kanilang cash. So, credit yung cash account. Okay? Normally kapag expenses, so it's debit to expense account, credit to asset account. Pag binayaran in cash, adi credit cash. Okay? So, yun. Kapag yung ginamit na word is paid, so normally ay binayaran in cash. Okay? Next transaction, pay the salaries of employees, 20,000. So, again, expense and cash. Debit natin to salaries expense, credit to cash. And number 13, a portion of the office space is being subleased to a tenant and received 1,000 as payment of rental. So, yung situation, di ba umuupa sila ng kanilang office space. Siguro merong small room or small portion of the building or the office na hindi nila ginagamit. Ang ginawa nila is pinarentahan to someone else. Okay? Yun yung sublease na tinatawag. Okay? Or subrent. Pero syempre, yung type of transaction na yun with the permission pa rin nung mismong building owner. Okay? Or office owner. Or yung mismong may-ari ng lugar. For the sublease. Okay? So, dito, pinayagan silang mag-sublease. Nagkaroon sila ng client na nangupahan dun sa small portion ng kanilang office. Tapos, nakatanggap sila ng 1,000 as rental payment. So, nakatanggap ng pera. Affected accounts natin. Increase in asset. Nagkaroon ng cash. Tapos, additional income. Kasi, di ba, pinarentahan nila yung space na hindi naman nila ginagamit. So, credit to source of income is rent. So, rental income. In particular, ang entry nila would be debit to cash and then credit to rental income. Number 14, the owner withdrew cash for personal use. Okay, so nagkaroon ng withdrawal. So, nangangailangan ng pera si owner for personal use, kumuha muna ay sa business. Okay, in that case, kailangan i-record pa din, i-reflect sa books ng business. So, ang affected account, so withdrawal, drawing, di ba? Nag-withdraw kasi ng cash. Tapos, yung another account na affected would be cash ng business kasi nga nag-withdraw. So, yan. Decrease in asset in the form of cash, nabawasan ng cash. And then, increase dito sa drawing kasi nagkaroon ng drawing. So, ang accounts natin na affected ayon, ang entry natin would be debit to drawing account, so tutor drawing, and then credit to asset account, yung cash kasi nabawasan ang cash. Okay? Number 15, paid C company partially 10,000. So, di ba kanina merong nakasetup na accounts payable for the yung biniling gamit from C company. In this case, nagbayad na tayong business ngayon kay C company. Pero partial lang, 10,000 lang muna. Okay? So, nagbayad, diba? So, affected ang cash, 10,000. Tapos, since naka-record na to kanina as accounts payable, so mababawasan yung utang na in the form of accounts payable. So, that's the other account na gagamitin natin. Okay? So, dito sa ating equation, anong affected na accounts? Asset. Nabawasan ang asset. So, credit natin siya. Credit to cash. And then, liability. Nabawasan ang liability, yung accounts payable natin. So, debit yung accounts payable. Okay? So, again, di ba, normal side ng asset is debit. Pero kapag siya ay nabawasan, kikredit natin siya. Kaya naka-credit yung cash. Tapos, yung liability, di ba, utang. Normal side niya, credit. Pero pag binayaran yung utang, ibig sabihin, nabawasan ang utang, magiging debit yung entry natin. Okay? So, kaya siya ay debit to accounts payable. Okay? Pag nagbayad ng utang, kabilang side, debit. Nagbayad ng utang, nabawasan ng cash, credit sa cash. Okay? 16, pay the promissory note in transaction number 5. So, ibig sabihin, may naka-record na tayong note payable. Binayaran na natin siya ngayon. So, affected accounts, kabawasan sa cash kasi nagbayad tayo ng utang. And then, kabawasan din sa liability kasi nagbayad na tayo ng note. Okay? So, in particular, ang debit account natin na gagamitin ay note payable kasi yun yung nakasetup natin na liability na binayaran ng promissory note. And then, credit to cash, kabawasan ng cash kasi binayaran natin yung utang. Okay? Number 17, paid the loan in full. Yun nasa transaction number 6 naman. Okay? Loan. So, ibig sabihin, kanina may naka-record na tayong loan payable. May naka-set up na loan payable. In this transaction, babayaran naman natin siya. Okay, so ang affected accounts natin, again, asset, kasi binayaran yung loan, so kabawasan sa cash. Tapos, liability, binayaran yung utang in the form of loan payable, so nabawasan yung loan payable. So, debit credit natin, debit would be loan payable kasi nabawasan yung liability. And then, credit to cash kasi nabawasan yung cash, credit yung cash. Okay? Number 18, collected partially the account of Mr. D, 5,000. So, si Mr. D kanina customer natin, di ba? Pero siya ay binil natin. So, nagkaroon tayo ng receivable mula sa kanya. In this case, nakakolekta naman tayo sa kanya. Yung receivable natin mula sa kanya, natanggap na natin yung kaputol kasi partial payment pa lang siya. Collected partially. Pag yung term na ginamit ay collected, cash yun. Nakakolekta tayo in the form of cash. So, ito ay 5,000 ang amount. So, nakatanggap tayo ng cash. Affected na account would be asset in the form of cash. Tapos, the other affected account would be another asset account, yung ating receivable. Mababawasan na yung receivable natin kasi natanggap na natin in the form of cash. So, debit to cash, yung asset type na natanggap natin, cash. And then, credit to another asset account, yung receivable, kasi natanggap na natin yung accounts receivable. Decrease in accounts receivable. Okay? Kaya siya naka-credit. Ayan. Number 19, collected the promissory note, transaction number 9. So, again, collected. Ibig sabihin, natanggap na natin siya in the form of cash. Okay? So, affected accounts, asset, in the form of cash, natanggap natin siya. So, yun yung ating pinakang debit. Tapos, promissory note, may naka-record na tayo earlier na note receivable. Since natanggap na natin siya ngayon, so, babawas na natin yung note receivable. Natanggap na natin eh. So, ayan. Ang credit account natin would be note receivable. Nabawasan na yung note receivable kasi natanggap na natin, naging cash na siya. Okay? So, ayan. Transaction number 20, mortgage the repair equipment as collateral for loan, 15,000. So, dito, nangutang siya, tapos, in case na hindi siya makabayad, kumbaga, pinramis niya na yung repair equipment ang nagiging pambayad niya. Pero in this case, hindi pa involve yung repair equipment. Magiging involved lang yung repair equipment kapag hindi siya nakabayad ng utang, remata or hahatakin ng bangko yung repair equipment kapag hindi siya nakabayad ng utang niya. Okay, so pero in this case, nangutang pa lang siya, ginamit lang yung collateral yung repair equipment. Okay, so ang affected accounts pa lang natin dito would be yung cash. Nakatanggap tayo ng proceeds dun sa loan, sa mortgage loan. Tapos, nagkaroon tayo ng utang, which is yung mortgage payable na nga. Okay, so the debit account natin would be yung cash, and then credit account natin would be liability account, yung mortgage payable. Okay? Siguro sa discussion na lang din natin ng adjustments kapag ano mangyayari kapag hindi siya nakabayad. So, magkakaroon tayo ng recording with the collateral na ginamit, yung repair equipment. Next, we have Transaction 21, issued a promissory note for C company to settle the account in full, 5,000. So, after some time, so hindi nakabayad yung company to C company. So, accounts payable siya before, So, since tumagal yung bago makabayad, and currently, wala pa ring pambayad or wala pang balak magbayad yung company for some reason. So, anong nangyari? Nag-issue na siya ng promissory note para palitan yung accounts payable. So, mangyayari, transfer lang siya ng account from accounts payable to note payable. Okay? So, ang affected account lang natin dito ay liability accounts. Okay? Kabawasan sa liability, yung accounts payable, kasi pinalitan siya ng note payable. Magiging increase in note payable. So, yung debit natin dito is debit to accounts payable. Tinanggal na yung accounts payable. Tapos, credit to note payable kasi pinalitan lang siya ng note. Okay? Kasi nag-issue tayo ng promissory note for the account. Okay? 22, received a promissory note from Mr. D, 3,000 in full payment of his account. So, di ba yung original account ni Mr. D is 8,000? Nagbayad siya ng 5,000. So, meron pang balanse na 3,000. In this case, siguro medyo natagalan din si Mr. D bago siya makakuha ng pambayad. So, anong nangyari? Nag-issue na siya ng promissory note para dun sa balance. So, again, transfer lang ito. Since si Mr. D is customer natin, so receivable ito ng business. So, transfer lang from accounts receivable to note receivable. So, ang affected accounts lang natin ay asset accounts. Yung accounts receivable, babawasan na siya kasi pinalitan ng note receivable. So, magkakaroon ng increase in note receivable naman. So, debit natin yung note receivable, tapos credit yung accounts receivable. Next, 23, paid the following expenses. So, recording na ng mga expenses ng business. Advertising, 3,000. Tapos, insurance, 2,400. So, increase in expenses. Tapos, paid siya. So, ibig sabihin, binayaran na ng cash. So, decrease in asset in the form of cash naman siya. So, debit accounts natin, advertising expense, saka insurance expense. And then, credit natin ay kabawasan sa asset, kabawasan sa cash. So, credit, cash account. Okay? Number 24, ayan, malapit na tayo matapos. Bought tables, 8,000, yung total amount. Pero ang binayaran lang ay 2,000, down payment. Okay? So, yung balance na 6,000 ay accounts payable ng business. So, bought tables, nagkaroon tayo ng asset in the form of tables. So, affected account, asset in particular, furniture and fixture. So, debit natin kasi nagkaroon tayo ng tables. And then, ang credit natin, kabawasan sa cash kasi nagbayad tayo ng 2,000 na down payment. So, credit to cash. Tapos, yung balance is utang muna. So, meron tayong increase in liability. So, credit to accounts payable for the balance, which is 6,000. Okay? Ayan. So, dito medyo more than 2 accounts na yung mga affected. So, okay lang naman yun. 3 pa lang. So, carry pa. Okay? And then, itong last transaction natin, billed a customer for repair service rendered. 6,000 yung total account. Pero ang nakolekta lang ay half and collected half. Okay? So, nagkaroon tayo ng income kasi nag-render tayo ng service to a customer. Total account again is 6,000. So, technically, meron tayong receivable, pero nakolekta na agad natin yung kalahati, yung half. So, meron tayong natanggap na cash, tapos meron tayong receivable pa din. Okay? So, affected accounts natin in terms of asset. Affected ang cash kasi may nakolekta tayong kalahati, which is 3,000. Tapos, affected din ang accounts receivable kasi may matatanggap pa tayong 3,000 from the customer. Okay? So, debit natin to cash and accounts receivable. Tapos, credit natin siya to income. Nag-render tayo ng service. So, increase in income, credit to repair income. Okay? So, yun. Ito na yung medyo beginner approach kasi discuss natin ng paisa-isa kung ano yung mga affected accounts, saan natin siya i-debit, saan natin siya i-credit. So, and hopefully ay medyo mas nasundan, lalo na para sa ating mga beginners. Alright, so that's it for this video. We'll have another video para naman dun sa journalizing and posting sa general ledger. Same transactions, ito pa rin yung gagamitin natin para mas ma-review nyo, para mas ma-familiarize kayo with the recording process and the analysis.